Everything Turning Point is doing is wrong. And you know it's wrong. You know it's wrong deep down. And I want to say this because there has been a lot of reading in between the lines. It's strange to me. I think I'm a very direct person and I say what I mean. And I do not want people to mistake what's happening right now or to wrongly assume my intentions here. So allow me to be very explicit, okay? I want war with all of you, okay? All of you. And there's a reason. I'm going to get to that reason in a little bit, but I want war with all of you. So write your articles, issue your statements, email the White House, reach out for comment, okay? Say whatever it is you want to say about me. I want war with all of you. Because I know this isn't right. And there is no way you are going to convince me and the rest of the world that all of this is normal. We're not just going to keep on going and jump into a succession plan. We're going to figure out what the hell happened on September 10th first. And I'm going to tell you guys, Charlie had a vision. We'll get to that after a few ads. But I was so clearly deluded in the immediate aftermath of his death that I was operating under this function. I mean, I truly believed that I would be fighting for answers to what actually happened on 9/10 alongside Charlie's inner circle. I thought the band maybe was going to get back together. We were all going to maybe be on a group chat. Me, Tyler Boyer, Andrew Kolvet, Stacey Sheridan even. If you're wondering who Stacey Sheridan is, by the way, she's the one who's holding the camera when Charlie's casket is being escorted off of Air Force Two. She's like the chief money person, essentially, at Turning Point USA. She was brought in to reel in the big donors. I remember exactly when that happened. All of those people, by the way, were actually brought in by Tyler Boyer. He's a very important character in the story, but we're going to get into all of that tomorrow. The point that I'm making here is that I had assumed, clearly wrongly, that we'd all maybe be on a group chat communicating, raising hell and demanding answers from the feds, from the police, from the White House even. Certainly, at the very least, pointing out the very many holes in this story. And if any one of us had the audacity or the desire to carry on Charlie Kirk's show, that would be the appropriate venue for asking those sorts of questions. But no, I was wrong. Silence. Silence is what we were met with. In fact, I am told that these people believe the official narrative. Lone shooter. No one else involved. Just a crazy guy with too many pronouns in his bio. Hey, 1963 called and they want their narrative back. All that's missing from the story is a grassy knoll, right? Just need a grassy knoll. Anyways, back at headquarters, I am told it's business as usual. And it's kind of giving me like, I don't know, LBJ when he gets sworn in that famous picture. Unfortunately, sworn in. Unfortunately, of course, he's sad in this photo. Gosh, he's obviously not wanting to be the president of the United States. JFK was shot and killed. And now LBJ has to step up, unfortunately. But I got to be honest, I wasn't there. I don't think LBJ was actually that upset. I don't know why. Vibes. The vibes just aren't vibing for me in that picture. But maybe he was. Maybe the truth is that LBJ simply, to use an expression, had his wits about him. And JFK had a plan. Like in the event that he had been horrifically assassinated in front of the world, JFK maybe had a succession plan. Now, if these terms I'm using here sound familiar to you, it's because they should sound familiar. It's the exact terminology that was utilized by Pastor Rob McCoy just 4 days after Charlie was murdered. In front of his congregation, he spoke about Charlie's succession plan that he was somehow privy to. I don't know why, but he knew 4 days later and announced to the world that Charlie indeed had a plan. Take a listen.
Everyone's worried about the leadership of TPUSA. Don't. He was wise enough at 31 to put together a plan for succession. It's very clear what they decided, and they're implementing it now.
Amazing. I mean, amazing. So on September 14th...
Flowers come. I see Daddy. Flower down.
That little girl at the end of that lunacy was Charlie Kirk's daughter. Folks, that is who Candace Owens is trying to ruin the legacy of. That was Erika Kirk shared that video of Charlie and of his daughter and she driving into TPUSA headquarters. And his daughter saw his name and his a sign of him. And she says, Charlie Kirk, as you all saw. We got a lot to unpack tonight. This is Pop and Politics. I'm KJ. Let me introduce you to my co-host. Of course, we have Shelly E. And back with us. Yes. And back with us tonight, folks, is Tyrone Keys of Soldiers of Finance right here on YouTube. How are you all doing tonight?
Doing good.
Good. So again, we've got a full show. So before we light this fire, do your part, tap that thumbs up, smash that subscribe button, and turn on your notifications. We're live here on YouTube and Rumble. If you're on the go, you can catch us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify under the name Pop and Politics. We love our chat. I see we already have some super chats. I want to shout you guys out. We have here, let's see here. Kung Fu CJ says, hello, Pop and Politics family. I believe Candace was an eggplant all along. Shaking my head. Yes, indeed. Thank you so much. AT with the $10 super chat says, the way I ran out of the sauna when I saw you were going live about Candace Owens, she's going to give me high blood pressure. I swear, y'all are my therapist, and I'm an actual therapist. Wow. Thank you so much. Yeah, we got a lot to unpack here. Gloria, thank you. She is the newest member of our Freedom Seekers Club. Absolutely. So that is another way to support the channel, our Freedom Seekers Club. Join us. It's a great way to do that. Folks, again, as you all come in, hit that like button, it helps to tell YouTube to share this video with a wider audience, and subscribe. We love our chat. We shout out every super chat. So again, drop your thoughts, show your love, and join the conversation that the mainstream media wishes didn't exist. As I always say, this is not just a podcast. This is a movement of God-fearing, truth-seeking, America-loving people that value freedom. Stand with us and subscribe so we can amplify this rallying call for freedom. All right, let's set it off. Before we really get into this, I just want to say this. Some people say, why are we still talking about this? Why are we giving this airtime? And personally, for me, if we want to win the culture war, if we can't become what we despise, okay? And what I see in Candace Owens right now is reckless, is emotional, and it's an obsession. It's obsessed. She's obsessed with this story. And we all are supposed to be truth tellers. At least that's what we call ourselves here on Pop and Politics. I know you do the same, Tyrone, on Soldiers of Finance. We're not rumor chasers. And honoring Charlie Kirk means defending what he stood for: faith, facts, and freedom. And it just burns me to see her, and she's trying to tear down his legacy. So this is why I think we should continue to push back against her. That's just my opinion. But I want to go with you, Shelly. I mean, she's back again today after a long hiatus, and she goes right into this. What do you think is going on here, and what are your thoughts?
Well, I've been saying along, she's not going to stop, and she's not going to stop. In fact, today she said it herself that she sees herself as being at war. Those were her words, with the people at TPUSA. That's number one. So there you have it. Those are her words. What I came up with in my notes basically Candace is putting forth two maybe divergent. She may say that they would overlap. I'm calling them two divergent themes. In one aspect, some of her questions about the assassination of Charlie, the investigation, maybe autopsy, things like that. Those are some, I guess I would say, valid questions, right? Normal, if you will, valid. I'm not saying normal in the sense that you can't ask whatever question. Normal questions that people have questions and they want answers to. That's number one. But her second line is what really stymies me, in that anybody, particularly TPUSA, anybody that has, I guess, support for their donors, and they happen to be Jewish, or they happen to have an affinity or support for Israel, they are automatically, by association, now seemingly, allegedly, what she's insinuating is that they are guilty of his murder. I don't understand what she's saying about these people. The Mike McCoy she mentioned, and Tyler, I forget his last name.
His pastor, that was his pastor.
The pastor himself, and his son. She's now insinuating, at least that's what I took away from her show today, that she's now insinuating that they have something to do with Charlie's assassination. That part, I don't understand how she's intertwining all of these.
Yeah, I don't either. Tyrone, the most honest thing she said, in my opinion, is she thought the band was getting back together. And so this reeks of someone, in my opinion, who was on the outside and who wanted desperately to get back into the inner circle, and for quite some time. And so she was, after this, as some people do, we know this, anybody who's had a matriarch or someone, a patriarch of a family pass away, and you had someone who was on the outskirts, and as this person dies, that person seems like they think they're going to come back into the inner circle. I've seen this multiple times, and they don't, and they go crazy. What are your thoughts on this, Tyrone?
No, she certainly seemed very, when she hit that point, she seemed very nostalgic, very, longing for the way things used to be. I mean, that was really palpable. Okay. She's making very extraordinary claims, but I'm not seeing her present evidence to back up her claims. Okay. In fact, I feel kind of sorry for her, because you know what she reminded me of? There's a movie called The Manchurian Candidate with Denzel Washington. And there's a scene in that movie where Jeffrey Wright, the actor, he plays Corporal Al Melvin, and he's trying to explain something to Denzel, and he gets really deep into this conspiratorial mania, right? And he just keeps ratcheting it up. I swear, she reminded me of that scene. Okay, yeah. And it's kind of like, and they're friends from what I understand, but it kind of reminded me of like Kanye West's trajectory.
Oh yeah,
yeah. So, hey, look, you're out there making a lot of extraordinary claims. She's got this suit with the Macrons over in France, and she said she was going to prove that, look, I don't know what his wife is, a man or woman, I don't know. But how does Candace Owens prove one way or the other, right? So I think that at this point, she's really skating on some thin ice in terms of being hit with some hefty libel and slander suits here, because she's really making some really big claims with no evidence to back it up.
Yeah, and talk about, now, did you all believe, and folks in the chat, sound off on this, when the whole thing, when she talked about LBJ, and this whole thing, she talked about the succession of LBJ, for, I guess she's referring or comparing it to Kennedy and LBJ. To me, was she implying or putting in some type of implication that Erika Kirk was LBJ? Is she comparing Erika Kirk to LBJ? What are your thoughts there?
Yeah, in a way she was, in a sense that Charlie was assassinated, and LBJ was basically rushed into the office. Well, first of all, every president that has sworn in on day one, you have a succession plan. Okay, every organization, particularly large organizations, large corporations, they have succession plans already, and certainly family-owned nonprofits. Okay, that's a given. So I don't know why she thought that was such a big issue. And then the fact that the pastor McCoy, and I like the way she said, okay, I'll say pastor, whatever she said, but Pastor McCoy, when he was talking about it, she seems to be, insinuating that why would he know about this? I mean, well, you haven't been there for 6 or 7 years or more. Why would you think that maybe some things have changed? Maybe Pastor McCoy did know the succession plan, and there were other people. She's insinuating that this guy who took the video off the wall. Granted, I will admit that is kind of odd. Okay, that is kind of odd, but apparently TPUSA knows about it. Maybe from what I understand, someone told him to get the film. Whatever, all that may be wrong, but this is odd on the face of it. But now she seems like she's been insinuating that this guy had something to do with it, and that she's never known him when she was there. Well, you haven't been there for 6 or more years. People hire new people to do things. Why do you think that what she came across to me? I think we said it a few weeks ago. Jealousy. She's angry and she's jealous that she has not been there. She's maybe, I don't know, kicked out, left, whatever, but she does not have the role that she thinks that she should have had in this, particularly in this assassination investigation. She is upset about it, and she's trying to couch it. And now all of these people are allegedly, and she's insinuating that they are somehow responsible for Charlie's death. Of course, that's not what she's saying, but she is saying it.
Yeah, and today also Andrew Kolvet, Charlie Kirk's business partner, responds to these lies. Take a look here. This is clip 8.
Suggestion online that Mikey, Charlie's chief of staff, one of the most sincere people you'd ever meet, brilliant, Christian, kind, everyone he ever met in his entire life, couldn't hurt a fly, was part of a conspiracy to murder Charlie. That's what's going on.
Yeah. It's vile. It's utterly vile.
Who would do this? What type of individual? Just to create content, do we think, or is there some? What's the ulterior?
I don't know. I think a lot of this mindset just sort of fuels itself. It's sort of addictive in the same way a lot of social media stuff is addictive, or in the way honestly something like pornography is addictive or something. Like they get really they almost get a high off of like the idea of like that they're doing something that's daring or out there.
Yeah, and I want to make one other point though, and this is actually to your point. You saw Mikey do heroic things that day. I saw Mikey do heroic things. I was not on site, but I immediately flew to Utah. We got a plane. I mean, it's not something that I'm used to, but it was like my wife went with me. We went straight over. I knew I needed to be with Erika and the team immediately just because, I just knew. But that moment when I got the news, I was so shell-shocked. I was not even there, but I was immediately traumatized. My brain fries like an egg. I can't see straight. I can't think straight. All I knew is that, like, what's happening? My wife came in. She, like, hugged me. We started crying together. And I can't even remember those moments very clearly. I wasn't even there. Mikey was two
Mike
steps
has talked
away,
about that.
And I asked him, I was like, do you even remember the moments after? He's like, I can't even really remember. I know I called Erika. I know I called my wife. I know I called my dad. I can't even really remember the steps I took. I can't. But here's the last thing I want to make a point of. And Charlie had given me similar instructions along the years. Said, if anything ever happens to me, you call Erika.
Yeah,
that's the other thing. And he drilled that into Mikey's brain so that when this moment of trauma happened, that he turned around and he knew he had to do it. And by the way, last thing, because this is part of the video allegations here, is that they think they're alleging that he was on the phone immediately. He was not. He was taking social videos, which he would send to our group chat, which we would then put on Charlie's social while the event was happening, so you could see like the crowd come in or his interactions. And we were only 2 questions into this event, so he was still getting it out to all the chats he needed to do, which he did at every event. He turns around, and it was so blaringly loud, I'm told. You would know this better than I, but this is what I'm told. It was so blaringly loud, and he was so shell-shocked. He put his fingers in his ear, but his phone was still in his hand. He walks away, and he's...
not even walk. I want to... Because people are talking about that. The way it was is we had a cordoned-off area with grates, so you had controlled access. All the people, when this happens, they all get the idea we should leave before we are shot. And so there's a little narrow gap that I think... people, it's not really walking, it's that everyone has to slow up to get through this little narrow choke point to get out of the area. And
anyways, well, the point is he walks briskly. I don't even care if he's walking, running, whatever, because again, the most traumatic thing you could imagine had just happened to him. My brain fried. I cannot imagine what was going through your guys' head being on the scene and seeing it.
My heart aches for the people, Charlie's family, his friends. And let me tell you why, because when you lose someone suddenly, and I've never lost someone in this type of way, an assassination, but I have lost someone close to me suddenly. Your mind I can't even remember what I was doing that day. It's like you don't remember anything. It's just a blur. It's all a blur. Even up until the funeral is a blur, okay? And it's just for them to have to regurgitate this and defend their loved ones. These are people that they have been close to for many, many years, because this wench is out here creating conspiracy theories and God knows what else. I mean, we only know the surface. No telling what her podcast and her putting out these things, what type of chaos this has caused them. I'm sure it's more than what we can even fathom. Okay.
Yeah.
It's really, it's sad. It's infuriating, and it has to stop. Shelley, what are your thoughts here?
Well, again, granted, I have lost someone suddenly by murder. Okay. And part of the, what we call it, a technical term for it is called dissociative amnesia, which is normal. Like you said, things happen like, oh my gosh, and you can't even really place what you were doing. It's there. You just can't pull it up yet. And one of the things I think that what Candace is doing, and almost every day now, TPUSA or someone responds to her. What I think her episodes are doing, it's compounding the grief process, right? They can't even grieve, quote unquote, well, or grieve correctly, if you will, because they're still not having time to process what happened, so to speak. So the fact that she's interrupting that grief, recounting it, after you've grieved and you move on a little bit, most people, you can go back to that person, the fond memories, even the sad day, things like that. But when you compound that grief, you're kind of stuck. You're stuck in an emotional blockade, if you will. And it's just, what she's doing is not just disrespectful, it's hurtful. It causes more pain, unnecessary pain, certainly pain that doesn't even have to be. It's unbelievable. All because my opinion, my never to be humble opinion, is that she is upset that she was not and is not a part of the TPUSA team or inner circle. So now she's going around and she talks about it on her show. She's going around, she's the lead investigator now. She's going around calling people, telling them to send her this. I don't understand why she thinks that they would send it to her if the police. I don't understand that.
Right. Tyrone, let's give her the benefit of the doubt and say she really believes this stuff, okay? Is there some other kind of way that she can go about this so-called investigation without making it so public? Or do you think the idea of making it public helps her investigation? What are your thoughts there?
Yeah. Here's my thing. Candace Owens is not a criminal investigator, number one. Number two, there is an ongoing federal investigation taking place. Okay, she is not privy to the evidence in that case, either the evidence pointing to the suspect that they have in custody, or any of the evidence that his lawyers might have that could exonerate him, right? And has his lawyers made contact with Candace Owens? Okay, if she's got all of this figured out, you would think that his lawyers would say, hey, let's get with her because that could exonerate our client. That has not happened, okay? And I think that, respect to the Turning Point team, but they were sitting there explaining, I'm not explaining a damn thing to Candace Owens, okay? She's not worthy of me having to explain myself. Who the hell is Candace Owens? Okay, so my advice to them would be, look, when you're walking down the street and somebody is yelling out of their mind, you don't address that person, all right? You ignore that person. So the same needs to be done with Candace Owens. Shelly, you don't, when someone's acting in a manic way, you don't sign on to the delusion, okay? Exactly. As a first responder, we were taught that. As a nurse, you've been taught that, okay? Anybody in the healthcare profession knows that if somebody comes in a room and says, I'm Joan of Arc, you don't, play along with that. So Candace is spiraling into irrelevancy. And I think the best thing she could do right now is go on a hiatus and just put all this behind her for a while.
Well, but the issue here, Tyrone, and I agree with what you're saying, is that she has millions of followers. She has multi-millions of followers across platforms. So she has a large microphone. Mm-hmm. And what she's saying goes out to the masses. And this is not only it's shameful and it's hurtful, it's dangerous to the case because she has a large platform and she can taint the jury pool. She you all let me know if you agree or disagree with this, but she can do major damage to the jury pool because she has such reach.
Well, that claim is made often. I remember that people were suggesting that could happen in several high-profile cases. And I think that once reasonable people sit down and actually hear the evidence, usually they make a decision to, either convict or exonerate somebody independent of the run-up. Look,
I hope so.
People can say that the OJ jury pool was tainted. No, Marsha Clark put on a effed up case. That's what happened. Okay, so to the extent that jury selection is done correctly and people hear evidence, most of the time they're going to do the right thing, whether that is in the favor of the defendant or the victim.
I hope so. We have some super chatters, folks. We want to hear from you all. What do you think? All right, let's see here. We have here. All right. I thought we had super. Oh, okay. AT says Shelly is 100. This whole thing is about jealousy, in my opinion. All right. Yeah. Thank you so much. At Razabubo2 says Candace wants back in the band. So sad. Yeah, that's where I think too. What I think. Red Bucks, thank you so much for your $5 super sticker. We appreciate you. Kung Fu CJ says the judge in the case has ruled in the killer's favor. Well, I think he's referring to there was a ruling out today where he can wear his regular clothing. Exactly. He doesn't have to wear a jail uniform, but he still has to be handcuffed. So
the shackles have to be, they can't be seen by the jury. They have to be they can't see the shackles. The jury can't see the shackles, and it was a pre-trial hearing of how, right, like you said, the dress that he can wear. He's not going to be able to come in prison garb. Right. Yeah.
And that is honestly, that's reasonable because you do have a presumption of innocence. Exactly. If you bring somebody in clothed in stripes, that kind of defeats that purpose. So I'm actually, that's reasonable.
Yeah. There's legal precedent. There's legal precedents. Pretty much, I want to say laws or statutes that basically guide that and pretty much outline those factors.
Right. Okay. All right. Well, we will continue to follow this story. Again, Charlie dedicated his life to training young conservatives and building institutions. And it's just to drag his name through baseless speculation dishonors his mission and the people he empowered. I mean, my goodness, she's also dragging his widow through the mud. But Erika Kirk is scheduled to sit down for her first interview since Charlie's assassination with Jesse Waters on Fox News next Wednesday. So we'll see what comes of that. We have another super chatter here. Let me see here. We have Wanda Sanchez with the $5 super chat. Says she has mental health issues and no one loves her enough to tell her to sit down and shut the hell up for a minute. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah. Very good point. Very good point. So we will continue to bring you guys the latest on this. Again, for all of our Bible believing prayer warriors out there, keep everyone involved in this in prayer. And we ask God's will be done. And just, to counter this spiritual warfare, because we know we're dealing with spiritual warfare here, and we have to war against it. All right. So we want to change gears a little bit and bring you guys the latest from this government shutdown. All right. So this is, what day is this? This is, I think
27.
I think it's 26 or 27.
Yeah, of this government shutdown. And now SNAP food stamps are about to run out effective November 1st, thanks to this Democrat obstruction. All right, we're talking about 42 million Americans will be left high and dry starting November 1st. Well, folks, even Democrat voters are now starting to get upset and they are blaming the Democrats. Take a look at this next clip where Democrats are going scorched earth on Chuck Schumer for shutting down the government. This is clip 6.
I'm, a retired federal worker, and I hear people talking about, the president needs to get involved, and the Democrats are saying this, the Republicans are saying this. This is the truth. The Democrats, and I'm a Democrat, are the ones that actually, in the Senate side, shut down the government. They did not vote for a continuing resolution except for 3 of them. One is the senator of Pennsylvania, Fetterman, and all. So they have to get together and stop holding an American hostage. We're about to have people without food come November 1st, which is the end of this week. And that's ridiculous. It is not worth it. Plus, the health care companies have already said you're way past the deadline for them to change their costs that they're going to give out to the public for the health care. So November 1st is open season. So they need to get together. I know they keep on saying the president needs to come back, but the power of the purse is with the Congress, not the president. You all talk about this president being the king, but if you want him to solve this problem, you're making him a king. This has got to stop in America. I want the Democrats to fight, but I want them to fight in a negotiating way like I did when I was a union president versus sitting up here constantly bickering and the Republicans bickering. This has got to stop, and America has got to stop accepting it. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
That's Lynn in Philly.
Wow. So that was a major Democrat. She was also a former union president, self-identifying Democrat, and she is spitting mad. So these SNAP food stamps funding run dry on November 1st. Again, as we mentioned, hitting 42 million low-income folks right before this is the holiday season. So again, that's 1 in 8 Americans, including kids and veterans. Okay. Shelly, what are your thoughts on this?
Ain't nobody starving in America. Okay. Ain't nobody starving in America. Nobody's starving in the United States of America. That's my thought. That's my opinion. And matter of fact, I know it. Look at our diabetes, obesity, morbidity, and mortality numbers. Nobody's starving in America. Now, that's number one. Number two, do I think that the government, the Congress specifically, are inept and incompetent and on many things, certainly even on the shutdown? Even as much as I want the government to shrink, I absolutely do think that they are inept. This shutdown, for the reasons that it's shut down, is based. Let's go with the Congresswoman. Our Congresswoman from Maine, I think, Massachusetts. She said this is leverage. Okay. Federal employees, by and large, in general, have some of the best healthcare plans. So they're not missing out on the healthcare plans. It's the people that this inept Congress keeps funneling out taxpayer money to support, and we don't get positive outcomes from it. So again, if they don't get their food stamps or SNAP benefits or whatever, then I say then they don't need them and give us our money back.
Wow. All right. Tyrone. So USDA is flat out says the well has run dry. Okay. 12 plus failed votes to reopen. The Republicans said yes every time, and the Democrats blocked it for leverage, as Shelley mentioned. Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, the first thing I thought of when I heard 42 million people on food stamps, I said, you know what? We got a problem in this country, a problem of dependency. Okay. And I understand that the economy, everybody's not fully involved in the economy. So everybody's not out there making $100,000. I get it. But when you look at the food stamp program and all of these other programs that basically instill dependency in a large portion of our populace, this is by design to keep certain people in power. Okay. Now it's kind of backfiring though, because these same people who are on the food stamp program, some of them are saying that they're speaking out on the internet. And they're, really decrying the fact that they're going to lose this benefit. But I'm like, this should be an opportunity for you to think, man, I'm too dependent on this government, that might do something that's not conducive with my family's welfare. So it should be a signal to come off of that.
Let me push back on that a little bit. So we have said over and over again on this program, and you have said on yours, Tyrone, that we have over the last several decades, we have become a country of single mothers. We have become a country of the high wealth, and the poor have gotten poorer. The gap between the rich and the poor has widened. Okay. And because we have so many single mothers, single parent households, these people have aged and become single seniors. Okay. And a lot of seniors get assistance. It's not just, they said they were clearing out these young and healthy men off of these rolls, but there are a lot of seniors who get help for this stuff. Veterans, the disabled, I think, to me, I would expect it to go up a little bit, because now we've become this nation of single moms, and these single moms become old women who don't have any help.
Well, so what's your point? Right.
So my point is, I want to push back on what you all were saying, as far as I do agree that, we do this is a dependent nation, and we do need to get, we have to get more young, healthy, able-bodied people off of social services. But again, on the other hand, I'm thinking, well, maybe it is inevitable that these roles are going to increase with people, because we are creating generations of single mothers who turn into elderly women who don't have anybody for help.
So it's not just all single mothers, like you said. Other people are on there as well, elderly veterans, things like that. That's number one. But ultimately, it is a culture of dependency and entitlement. How do you break that? I've said it once, I've said it a million times. I'm tired of paying for everybody else's stuff. Okay, I'm tired of it. I don't care if you have 10 children. Call me heartless. Call me whatever, selfish. I don't care. Call me racist, bigoted, whatever. Call them. That's fine. I will wear those monikers, wear them, because I'm tired of it. But if we break the culture of dependency, the government wouldn't have to collect from all of us to pay for all of them. Number one, they would have their own means to pay for whatever it is that they can afford with their own budgets. In this culture of dependency, not only is this a matter of I'm dependent, it's a matter of a mindset that has a mind change, if you will, altering the brain, the mind, to say, oh, I need to look for Uncle Sam every day, every month, or whatever, to pay my rent, my housing, my gas and electric, to feed my children, to feed me, to give me whatever it is I need. That's what I'm looking for from Uncle Sam. Not my own means, not my family, not my spouse, not my community, and not even my church. Hell, the churches get their hands out too for government dependency, things like that. It's a mindset, it's an entitlement, and that is causing them to be more poor.
Yeah. Well, not only that, but a large portion of these benefits go to non-citizen households.
It's true.
So data out today from the Center for Immigration Studies, according to this image one, based on the Census Bureau surveys, shows 59% of non-citizen households use major welfare programs like SNAP, food stamps, versus 39% for native-born households. So this includes legal and illegal immigrants, and it highlights this fiscal strain from high dependency rates. So while it doesn't, directly prove imported voting blocks, it underscores challenges in self-sufficiency and cultural alignment for massive low-skilled inflows. So basically, we are bringing in these people who eventually end up on social services.
That's right. And SNAP, food stamps, what we call them, those are some of the easiest ones to get, okay? And remember, I've said it many times, we've said it on here, the money is fungible. You can call it what you want. The state will dish it out, if you will, but then the state gets a reimbursement from the federal. Don't let all those grants and subsidies, or whether it's federal or state, where it comes from, don't get confused. It's taxpayer money at every level. That means it's your money, my money, Tyrone's money. It's taxpayer money. And they just moved the daggone coconut shells around thinking that, oh, the people don't understand. It's fungible.
Well, now, I want y'all to think about something else here. The food stamp program it's not just individual welfare. It is also a form of corporate welfare. In this state, Maryland, this one small state, $80 million per month in food stamps are issued. Okay. I'm surprised you didn't hear anything from Coca-Cola and PepsiCo, because several states have started banning the purchase of soft drinks with food stamps. But the food stamp program is a big nod to the agricultural lobby and also all of these food lobbies. Think about $80 million just in Maryland every month allocated specifically for food. Okay. So it's also a form of corporate welfare as well. Hence why you see them ready to give it to anybody, including people who are not citizens.
Well, even MSNBC is admitting that Americans are blaming Democrats for this shutdown. Take a look here. This is clip 5.
With MSNBC's Kevin Fry on Capitol Hill, where lawmakers are facing growing calls to end the shutdown. Kevin, what's the latest?
Yeah, I mean, this is a very dramatic call from that union of federal employees representing hundreds of thousands with a statement today saying, among other things, that it's time for our leaders to start focusing on how to solve problems for the American people rather than on who is going to get the blame for a shutdown that Americans dislike. Because when the folks who serve this country are standing in line for food banks after missing a second paycheck because of this shutdown, they aren't looking for partisan spin. They're looking for wages that they earned. They go on to essentially say that Congress needs to pass, in their view, a clean CR. Now, when Speaker Mike Johnson was asked about this today, he certainly kind of leaned into this. In fact, we saw several top Republicans on the House side take advantage of this statement and basically point to it, saying, Democrats, the ball is in your court now, whether or not you decide to act on this. Johnson saying, I certainly hope this is a turning point in the shutdown, noting that this is a union, after all, that is weighing in this sort of way, and saying that this shutdown is a charade. Now, of course, at the same time, I have in recent weeks spoken to Democrats representing districts with heavy populations of federal employees, and their message that they say they've been receiving from federal workers was keep up the fight, that health care is the fight worth having, that it is an important time to push back on the Trump administration. Of course, as this continues to drag out, as we see federal employees now missing paychecks, will that start to change? We shall see this week when lawmakers start to return. The Senate comes in this afternoon. They're expected at some point this week to vote again on that CR to reopen the government. And members of the House Democratic Caucus are going to be here as well, so we'll be polling them too. Chris?
All right, Kevin Fry with a busy week ahead yet again. Thank you so much.
All right. I mean, the truth is the truth. Right, Tyrone?
Well, he's lying about federal workers saying, oh, just we need a clean seat. Nobody is saying that. They're saying, I need my paycheck, man. Okay, so he's telling a damn lie. Or whoever told him that is lying.
Yeah. Shelly, what are your thoughts on that? MSNBC is right there saying blaming the Democrat.
Yeah, blame the Democrat, whoever you want to blame. The truth is, polls are showing still some mixed people. Some people blame the Democrats. Slightly more are blaming the Democrats now. But, again, the polls change by the end of the week. That's number one. But to Tyrone's point, Tyrone, I think I just looked up something. You said Maryland is spending $80 million. You cut them short, brother. This is according to the AI on Google. Maryland spends about $1.6 billion a month, average. I know, right? So you're a little bit behind, Tyrone, for fiscal year 2025, at least. Anyway.
Okay, my number was 2022. So okay,
right, exactly. Okay. So fiscal year 20. But this is my point. We're spending. This is only in Maryland. That's why I say nobody's starving in America. $1.6 billion in Maryland a month on average. That's a whole lot of damn food already stored up for the winter.
It should be.
Ain't nobody starving.
Well, I pray that's the case, but the as you mentioned, if these people aren't blaming the Democrats now, they deserve everything they get, okay? Because the Republicans have put forward bills prioritizing these politics over paychecks. So a few days back, Senator Ron Johnson of I believe it's Wisconsin pushed a bill to pay federal workers still on the job, because there's people working, they're just not getting paid. So again, like the troops, air traffic controllers. So there's the government is shut down, but there are some people that have to work, but they're just not getting paid. The Democrats blocked it 54-45. Also, 1.4 million federal feds missed paychecks, now hitting food banks. So we saw them, they were at the lines at these food banks. Even the largest federal union, we saw this today, AFGE, is begging to end this shutdown, and they also blame the Democrats. So, this is starting to get pretty serious. And I know that people are, let me see, what's today? Today's the 27th. The first is, when's the first?
Friday?
Monday? Saturday?
Saturday's the first. Saturday's the first.
Oh my God. Let me tell you, people are about to get crazy over these food stamps. Let me tell you that. You know, it hit me today. I was like, wow, we are about to go into Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Hell, I might not have anybody's house to go to this year. You know, because they got the mac and cheese and they got 2-3 turkeys. I know somebody was using food stamps to get that food. I'm getting nervous. Okay. I mean, what is going on here? You know, I'll be real with you. All right. So this is getting serious. And on a serious note, though, you know, my heart goes out to people who are worried. You know, people with multiple children, you know, who got to bring in lunch and they working and stuff. My heart goes out to these people who are depending on these food stamps, and it's not coming in. And the Democrats are so heartless. They don't care about these people. They're just using it as leverage. So it's sad. It really is. All right. We have some super chatters here, folks. Thank you all so much. All right. Let's see here. Kung Fu CJ says the food pantries have already prepared. Well, I saw a news story today where they were going out. They didn't have much food left in the food pantries. So we will see. I'm sure we'll hear about it. And folks, this doesn't just affect urban areas like the cities, rural areas.
Right.
Rural areas are going to feel this as well.
Can I say this one thing?
Say it, Shelly. We know you're going to say it anyway.
For over 40, 50 years, just like the war on drugs, the war on terror, the war on hunger or poverty, why is it that it never seems to go down? It never decreases. The war on poverty. Why is that? We have all of this money and resources, food pantries and nonprofits and whatever other benefits have been given over 40 something years, but yet the poverty is still there or still increases, not just decreases, it increases. More and more people. Again, this goes to what Tyrone said. This says something. In as much as it says something about the people themselves, it also says something about the culture that we have created, allow our government to create. We keep allowing it. We keep, putting the money there. They take out taxes and then they distribute it. And these jokers go off and take leave 10 times a year. You know, they got multiple homes. They come into office with 100,000 K or 200,000 K job. 2 years, they're making millions and millions. This is why people are upset. I know these things are kind of loosely related, but this is why this is why Mamdani is winning.
Well, support. Well, you answer this, Tyrone, because people try to say like the country is doing so badly, but from what I'm researching, our people aren't as poor as they were back in the day. Now that gap has gotten wider because we have more millionaires. Is that right? Or more people making more rich? That
is largely true. The standard of living is higher. The lifespans are longer, but also the average home costs $500,000. Okay, so affordability is getting further and further away from the average American. And to your point, Shelley, listen, the reason for these things is because poor people enrich other people. Okay, take Baltimore Mayor Brandon Scott. His wife runs one of these 501c3s. They're looking into her scam, and they find out that last year she took in $700,000.
Wow.
$600,000 went to management. Okay. All right. So that's the grift. These homeless 501c3s. Most of them don't want to be put out of business because the people at the top are making a lot of money. So you got to have homeless. It's got to be a growth industry. You're actually seeing people profit from more and more misery. They have no incentive to get rid of it.
Poverty is an industry. Is that what I'm hearing you say?
Absolutely, it is. Absolutely.
It is.
Wow. Well, all I got to say is, how do I get on?
You don't want to. You don't want to, because you know what? In that great getting up morning, a lot of people are going to be called to account, and you might live good down here, but there'll be an eternity you got to deal with for doing stuff like that. You know,
you're right, Tyra. Oh, God bless you for reminding me about that. You are right. You are right. You are so right. Yeah. And it's a grift, as I always say. It is. It's a terrible thing. People doing this type of stuff. It is. It really is.
And KJ, to your Thanksgiving point, I'm sorry, I know we got to move on. To your Thanksgiving point, Tyrone, we know we have so much food to the point that we get tired of it 2 days, 1 day later, and then we go out, Black Friday, Saturday, we out buying other food, eating dinner at the restaurants.
It's true.
That's why I say nobody's starving in America.
That's right.
Oh, well, I don't know where you going. I don't know who's cooking at your at your places, but at my house, my family's house, nothing's left. Everybody's taking food and they are eating it. It's nothing left. Okay, so all right, folks. As you all come in, please hit that like button. Hit that like button and subscribe. We are trying to reach 250,000 subscribers by the end of the year. We don't have Candace Owens millions, okay? And so, your likes, you help us push us out on the YouTube platform. And of course, your super chats go a long way in keeping us online. We are not married to millionaires, all right? Tyrone may be a millionaire, but
no. Tyrone is Tyrone might go apply for some food stamps tomorrow.
Yes, but again, thank you guys so much. We really appreciate each and every one of you guys and our community that we're building here of God-fearing, truth-seeking, America-loving patriots. So thank you so much. So let's go down to Chicago. So this Chicago mayor is in the news again, and he is the dorkiest, just most ignorant elected official out there right now. Okay. And every time I see him, it just annoys me. Every time I hear him, he bothers me. Well, here he is spazzing out over what he calls the racist term illegal alien. This is clip 2. Take a look.
We don't have illegal aliens. I don't know if that's from some sort of sci-fi message that you wish have had. Well, listen, the legal term for my people were slaves. You want me to use that term too? So look, let's just get the language right. We're talking about undocumented individuals that are human beings. The last thing that I'm going to do is accept the type of racist, nasty language to describe human beings. And so as far as our spending...
What? And you see that little square-head little lump woman next to him? Nodding, yeah. What is he talking about, Shelly? Illegal alien. It's a legal term, is it not?
Yes, they both are legal terms and categories, if you will, of people, alien, who are not citizens of the United States. Now, alien doesn't mean illegal in and of itself. It just means you're not a citizen of the United States. The illegal part is the adjective that says, okay, you don't belong here at all. You don't even belong on these grounds, no way, no shape, no form, in any kind of legal method. So that's what that is. Number 2, Brandon, there are no slaves living today, okay? They're not in the United States, okay, at least. There's slavery around the world, but your people are not living today, so there's no need necessarily for them to be categorized under this illegal alien moniker that you have a problem with. These people will find any way, shape, or form the left to associate blackness or slavery with any other thing, anything that they can make a victim or woe is me identification with. That's all he's doing. He's selling identification victim tickets. That's all he's doing. Tickets to his show in Chicago, while he is spending all their taxpayer money, there you go, on illegal immigration or whatever their needs may be. These people are sickening. They get on my damn nerves.
Yeah. Tyrone, you know, even the term alien is used in insurance, in terms of people who live in and outside of the state. There's multiple ways you use the term alien. So what he says, what is this, some sci-fi thing? Is this guy serious?
Listen, I used to think that Brandon Johnson, I actually call him Leotis, the lead baby, because to me it was apparent that he ate lead chips as a child. But now I'm sensing that he may be the first mayor of an American city with fetal alcohol syndrome. Because I'm not engaging in hyperbole here. I mean, this dude is really weird. Okay. He doesn't understand simple terms. He's fixated on slavery. Like Shelley said, at once upon a time, blacks were referred to as slaves, but not now. Okay, so why would you do that now? Look, these blue cities and the representation that they have in City Hall, I mean, hey, who are we to talk here in Baltimore? We're not doing too much better. I saw Brandon Scott in a green suit with black lapels the other day, and I checked my watch. I'm like, it's not Halloween yet. And
it's St. Patrick's Day?
Right. I'm like, what is this guy? Does he have a ventriloquist dummy in a suitcase or a magic wand somewhere? What is going on here? But I will say this. The only blue city mayor that I have found that acts like she has some sense, and I don't agree with the woman's politics, but she's not a Looney Tune.
Oh, I know who you're going to say.
Muriel Bowser.
Yeah.
Okay. She's not a Looney Tune, but she's the only one. The rest of them, what's the lady out in LA? Bass?
Yeah.
What's up with her? Okay. I mean, and it's not, it's just like this weird thread. Like, you ever seen that movie People Under the Stairs?
Yeah.
Or The Hills Have Eyes? It's like, it's kind of on that kind of thing, Yeah. You don't want to run into these people.
Yeah. It literally is like otherworldly.
It is.
It is. And folks, you guys know, you all know, we are dealing with spiritual warfare. These people are just weird, and they are working on some other level here. Many of them dabble in witchcraft. Oh yeah, they dibble and dabble in witchcraft and the occult and all that brings to it. And so this is what we get. And we people who Bible believers, we can see it because we're looking at all this through a spiritual lens. So a lot of times when you come across these people and you're like, something just isn't right, that's the Holy Spirit just saying these people are living and breathing on some other stuff, and this is what it is. And we got to call it for what it is, because like you said, they all are the same. They have that same feeling, that same. And I'm not even just boiling it down to leftism. This is beyond leftism now, because it's the cult of leftism, yes, but this is something else. This is something they wanted to credit to the children and all over. And we got to call it out. We got to call it out. We have some super chatters here, folks. Thank you all so much. We appreciate you. All right, Kung Fu CJ says, no, not Brandon from Illinois. Yeah, that's him. At Baltimore 7 with the $5 super chat says, Soldiers of Finance, I am from Northeast Baltimore City and still here. What part of Baltimore are you from?
I am from North and Dukeland. The west side, I emphasize the west side, the best side of Baltimore City. But hey, hello, fellow Baltimorean. And ask KJ, I have nothing against East Siders most of the time.
Oh, yeah. Well, we do. We do. You got it right at East Baltimore 7, and we're your people, Shelly and I.
That's right.
We're East Baltimore, okay? He's North and Dukeland. Put your guns up, pal. All right. So you guys from Baltimore, though, you know what we're talking about if you're from Baltimore. But yeah, it's all in fun. But yes, thank you all so much, folks. And you guys, you see, Soldiers of Finance is back with us tonight, but you can catch him on Soldiers of Finance right here on YouTube. And what do you have going on this week, Tyrone?
Well, we're really delving into Letitia James and that whole thing that's going on with her. We're also looking at the New York mayoral election, and it's going to be interesting to see how it comes out.
Yeah, absolutely. And folks, also you can check out our other stations. We have here the All American Talk Show. They'll be here tomorrow night at 7 p.m. I'm going to have a Hispanic panel of people on there, and they are going to give their feedback of how they feel about President Trump's presidency thus far. So check them out tomorrow night at 7 p.m. All right. Still, we got some more stuff, so don't go anywhere, folks. The show is still on. We got other topics to get to. And speaking of these crazy Democrats, these crazy mayors, we got to go to New York City, Mondami. So this looks like a done deal to me, at least. Zoran Mondami gave a speech yesterday to a massive crowd in New York City. I mean, he wasn't in Madison Square Garden, but he did fill a stadium. And this is what he had to say. Take a look. This is clip 3.
Here is what we stand for, my friends. We are going to freeze the rent for more than 2 million rent-stabilized tenants and use every resource at our disposal to build housing for everyone who needs it. We are going to eliminate the fare on every single bus line and make what are currently the slowest buses in the nation move around this city with ease. And we are going to create universal childcare at no cost to parents, so New Yorkers can raise their family in the city they love. Together, New York, we're going to freeze the. Together, New York, we're going to make buses fast and. Together, New York, we're going to deliver universal. We will make our city one where every person who calls it home can live a dignified life.
All right. And they're going to make this city empty. Tyrone, what are your thoughts? Everything they're talking about, free.
I
How did they get all this free stuff?
I have a good friend from New York, and I always tell him, you New Yorkers always think you know everything. You're supposed to be so sophisticated and cosmopolitan, and at the end of the day, you're going to sell out for the promise of a free grocery store. These things will never happen. First of all, the bus service is not controlled by the city. It's controlled by the state. So I don't understand if he knows that he's running for mayor, not governor. Okay. So he can't affect that sort of change. And Hochul's not making the bus service free. All right.
She was there.
She is totally out to lunch. And by the way, I call her the bucktooth bigot of Albany. Just go back and look at all of the racially. She doesn't even believe we as Black people understand how to use a computer. Okay, that's her. So none of it. Look, I want Mamdani to win because we need to take socialism out of the faculty lounge. Okay, and we need to have a little petri dish of numbskulls, who better than New Yorkers, to experiment on, to show the rest of the country how disastrous this will be. And in 4 years, we can ask them, did you get your free bus service? Healthcare? Did you get your free grocery store? Did you get those things? But like you said, what we're going to really get, what they're going to get is an exodus. Okay. And I mean an exodus. It's going to look just like the Israelites leaving Egypt. Okay. They're going to part the Hudson River and walk straight across. They're going to have so much impetus to get the hell out of there.
Yeah. Yeah. And the crazy thing to me is he's talking about all this free stuff. All they're going to have on there is a bunch of homeless, whacked out drug addicts and all these things. Nobody's going to want to ride that stuff. Who wants to ride a bus? And you, in one breath, he's talking about defunding the police and decriminalizing all these illegal stuff. And then on the next, he's talking about you want free bus rides and all this type of stuff. So you're going to be left with nuts. You're going to be left with drug addicts and criminals riding.
That's it.
And it's going to be like what happened to me when I went down to Baltimore City for jury duty, and I'm walking down the street. We were on lunch break, and this guy was coming the opposite way. And I'm just having a nice day, and I'm walking, and all of a sudden he comes up and he says, "Ha!" And he screams right in my face. And I was like, oh my God, I started screaming. But this is what the homeless do when they take over. I mean, there's no safe place to go. You know, I screamed back and I stumbled. I almost stepped in human poop, because that's what it is in Baltimore City. Human feces line City Hall on the steps and everything. You know, this is what it is. So go on with it. Shelly, what do you think about this?
Well, I think there will be an exodus, but I'm hoping there's also going to be an immigration to New York City. Those criminals, those homeless people, just like they went to San Francisco because California promised all of this, whatever for homeless people, whatever. And look what they got. So send them there. They're in California, they're in New York, two poles, or if you will, in the country, if you will, two sides of the country. Then the rich people are going to leave, and then they're going to be left. Who's going to pay these people? The bus drivers are going to be going to New Jersey and wherever else, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. So how are they going to get raises or attract people to come and do jobs that if everything is free, where are they going to get the money from? I want to see it. I want to see it for personal, sadistic, pleasurable reasons.
Right.
I want to see it for, right? That's what I want to see it for. I don't like, of course, the idea of a worldly, if you will, a world-renowned city, United States city, the biggest, if you will, being destroyed. And he's telling us no one can ever say that he lied, that he was deceptive, that I didn't know this. He didn't say. You can never, none of us, I don't care what side of the fence you're on, you cannot say that he did not say these things that he was going to do. So, hey, New York, Times Square, Manhattan, the Statue of Liberty might fall over. I don't know.
It won't fall over, but it'll wear a turban. They're going to put a turban around Lady Liberty.
The Statue of Liberty is going to pull up her skirt and walk out right across the border with everybody else.
Yeah. I mean, did you see behind him as he gave his speech? It was 8 people behind him wearing turbans and things. I mean, this is just, this is insane. It really is. So we, like you mentioned, this needs to happen. I mean, we were talking about this a couple of years ago. Remember how we were warning people that the left was talking about how men menstruate and, there are multiple genders, and everybody was saying, oh, what are you talking? You tell somebody in passing, the left is talking about men menstruating. They're like, what are you talking about? You're crazy. Nobody's saying that. Now everybody's saying it. So this is the same way with New York City. It's going to become one big male menstrual, menstruation show. That's what it's going to be, because they're going to show us better than they can tell us. And we're going to sit and say, we told you so. All right. So we will continue to follow that story and see what happens. moving right along, breaking today a bombshell story from University of Washington. A professor, Professor Stuart Regis, is blowing the whistle on DEI and their DEI hiring insanity. Take a look at what he has to say here. This is clip 4.
So this is something that the faculty voted in a few years ago, that for new hires, we require a diversity statement. In the Allen School, where I teach computer science, we basically have 3 different main measures. There's their research, their teaching, and DEI, their diversity statement. So, and these rubrics say things like, they used to say you have to agree with the equity agenda, with the DEI movement. Now you have to say that you have deep knowledge of the DEI in order to get a high rating on all of this. The funny thing is, I'm convinced I would not be hired if I applied today. There's just no way, even though I've won the Distinguished Teaching Award here at the university. So, it's they want you. Well, I'll give you an example of something they'll ask you. What have you done specifically for Black students in your teaching? And I would say, I don't do anything specifically for Black students. I have done a lot to try to make sure that struggling students have the resources that they need to succeed. But I don't think about Black students in particular and what they need. I just do this for all students. That's not an acceptable answer. I'm supposed to say what I've done specifically for Black students. Otherwise, I'm not working towards equity.
So I want to ask you, Shelley, is this what Black parents want for their children? Is this what we want for teachers to coddle them and to single them out as, with this extra help and so on and so forth?
Unfortunately, many do.
Wow.
Yeah, unfortunately, many do. I've seen it. I've taught at community college for a number of years, and I'm not saying most. I'm not even, I'm not certainly not all, but many parents, and not just Black parents, but yes, in the case of DEI, this is nothing new. But that faculty members stating that, it's not new at all. And unfortunately, just like I know Doge came through and President Trump has signed orders about DEI, schools, things like that, DEI is not going away. What will happen is it will be renamed or rebranded, recirculated some kind of way, shape, or form. But all of these schools are not getting rid of DEI outright. They're not. There's still, I guess, a business for it, if you will. There's still an industry for it. But to your original question, many parents do. Many Black parents want that because they see it as, I'm going to warp. They see it as a way that their children, again, the victim mentality. They don't have. They're not this. They can't do this. The man keeps them down. So this is their way of getting back, quote unquote, what they think they are deserved or entitled to. Unfortunately, they do.
But Tyrone, iron sharpens iron. Adversity, it makes you stronger. It makes you have a stronger mind when you're pushed and when you sometimes don't have everything you need. Now, I'm not talking about like eating and things like that. But to me, this sounds like coddling. What are your thoughts on this? How are we going to create a generation of sharp, strong-minded, mentally tough students, young people, when you got teachers asking them, treating Black students differently than other students?
Well, it's the bigotry of low expectations. And the white liberal betrays how they really feel about Black people when they institute these types of policies. We must be patted on the head and told that we don't have to compete at the level that everyone else does. Okay, we're special. Again, the Kathy Hochul in her rhetoric has exemplified that very attitude. Okay, so you got that piece going on. White liberals really believe this. Okay, they internalize this. They do not feel that Blacks are in any way equal to them. Okay. And then the other part of that And you even have black liberals who have bought into this. And when you say, well, these DEI policies are not helping our people, and then you point to a successful black person and you say, well, you were able to come out of adverse circumstance. Oh, but everybody, oh, so you're special. Okay. So no one else can be expected to do what you have done. Right. And then the other piece of it is, this is a trope that the left needs to perpetuate. They need to push this attitude into the future where black people continue to feel perpetually aggrieved, okay, inferior, all right? And so as long as they can push this out into another generation, then they'll continue to have some loyal voters.
Pets. I mean, to have a professor go about his class and says, what have you done specifically for black students? I mean, I gotta tell you, man, if I was white, I would be appalled. I'm appalled as a black woman because I don't want anyone, thinking that my son or my daughter is lesser than. As a parent, I'm trying to get my child, everything they need to be successful. So I want them to be the top of the class. I want them to be setting the bar, not what have you done specifically for black students. It's terrible. It really is.
White guilt. I mean, that is, we talked about this earlier with the poverty and the SNAP benefits. There is a mentality that inherently applies to black and brown, as they say now, that we are lesser than. We start off lesser than. So then we need, these white people. Malcolm X told us years ago. Yeah. Beware of that, beware of the white liberal, but they need us. They need KJ, Tyrone, you weren't there. When we were at the conference, the summit on Saturday, I don't know if you heard she was a white lady and she stood up and she said this, as a white lady, she teaches students and basically, the students, they're disadvantaged students. She called them disadvantaged. And she said, but the students still come to her and other faculty basically saying, oh, you white, you this, you don't, very disrespectful. Right. And Ian Rowe and Delano Squires were basically talking about, that's that attitude, that mentality, that's a victim mentality. This white lady didn't mean any harm, I'm sure. But she's not aware, to me, from her question, that they're starting with the victim mentality. They're starting with, oh, you all,
I'm missing it. What are you saying then?
The point is that many, in this case, white liberals or many liberals, leftists, whatever, they start from the position that black and brown people, black people are lesser than. That's their ideology. They're starting there. Some of them, in the case of this lady, I don't think she means any harm by it. I don't think she does. But that ideology is played out in how they teach or what they teach or the lack thereof, how they treat the students, because their mindset is, oh, you poor thing. That's what it is, basically. Oh, you poor thing. You can't do anything, so I'll do it for you, or I'll give it to you. You shouldn't be expected to do X, Y, Z.
Yeah,
that's
right.
it.
You're right. And I've seen that as well. I've had to go to schools and, sometimes they will say, with my son or daughter, they would say, I didn't want to do this with them because I felt like they needed to, I want to give them a little bit more time, or I want to give them the benefit of the doubt. And I'm thinking, well, why are you doing that? I want them pushed. I want them, I want you to push. Some kids need you to lean on them in order for them to show you exactly what they have, and these teachers want to coddle these kids, particularly the black and brown ones, because they feel like they need this extra help. And it's really for the detriment of them. Josh with the $10 super chat says, let's get Winsome Sears over the finish line. Absolutely. Oh my gosh, she's fighting all types of people down there in Virginia. And what an accomplished woman. But again, there was news out today, the NAACP is supporting Spainberger, the white woman. And this is exactly what I was saying. I forget who I was talking to a couple days ago, where I was saying how we have these institutions, these organizations that are supposed to be just blanket. I mean, I don't necessarily agree with it, but they're supposed to be organizations for the Black community, like NAACP, like a Black student union that are on college campuses and in high schools. Instead of them focusing just on that, they don't do that. They focus on leftism. So they're not actual institutions or organizations for the Black community. They're institutions and organizations for leftists. So we don't have any, it really is sad. We don't have any institutions, like that really support you. Just, again, I'm not saying I totally agree with that, but if you're going to be an institution, you say you about colored people, all colored people, not just leftists. You guys see what I'm saying?
The NAACP hasn't been relevant for 40 years now. Just even in the name alone. We've been through 3 or 4 different categories: African American, Afro-American, Black. They still got a name that is from the 1950s, okay? And a mindset to boot. So we got to reject these organizations of the past. They are long since past their expiration date.
Yeah. But I mean, we had a conversation. We're going to bring you guys this conversation we had over the weekend. But what other organizations are there? The Black organizations. There are some people who believe that we need to formulate these Black institutions, these Black organizations that are for Black, by Blacks. That's it. We have these organizations already, and they're not doing anything.
Let me say this. When I was in the corporate world, there was a resource group for Blacks. Okay.
Oh yeah, I know.
And a buddy of mine who's white, he said, "Well, hey man, we don't have anything like that for white people in the company." I said, "Yes, you do. It's called the board of directors. If we're going to do anything, it needs to be economic based. Right here in Baltimore, you got the Korean Business League. Okay. And they're approaching this from the standpoint of cash, money, assets, and ownership. Okay. So I'm not for any organization that is not talking dollars and cents. All right. These slow singing and flower bringing and all these Negro spirituals, that's done. Okay. It's about cash, money.
Exactly. So KJ, to your point, I agree, Tyrone. To your point, I know we had the conversation, not just you and I, audience. We were talking to different people, but it's more about not just Black owned, Black by Black because you look Black or because your skin is Black or brown. It's a mindset. Again, it's a mindset. And that mindset, when you look at other communities, like you said, they keep the money within their community for X amount of time. They support each other in their communities, in their economic, educational endeavors. Okay. So these are the kind of things that need to translate to many Black people. And that's the part that we as Black people, if you will, we don't do well for whatever reason, lack of teaching, lack of understand, whatever the case may be, lack of resources, but we just don't do that well. Maggie Anderson wrote that book years ago. I think she called it was Our Black Year. And she talked about it, but it was an economic perspective primarily. She had some racial components in there, but primarily she was focused on the economic or the lack thereof opportunities that Black people, by and large, are not taking advantage of or don't have privy to. And I agree, it's an economic. That's what we don't talk about a lot.
Well, you guys may disagree, but American Black is not an identity. It's just not. And this is what I was saying on Saturday. And so when you talk about the Korean American?
Korean Business League.
Okay. Jamaican Americans. These are, I'm just using these as examples. These are people who already have a culture, a continent, a country, whatever, that they have been a part of. That's their group. and then the generations may have immigrated here, and now but they still have some sort of culture to pull from to be American, so they combine it. Black American is not a culture. Black American, you're just American. And this is what I was trying to explain to Dave. He was trying to, what about somebody, let's take an everyday white American who does not have a family from Italy, from Ireland. They're just American. Their identity should be the same as an everyday Black American. Color is not an identity. And this is what I was trying to explain to him. We are not going to win, or we are not going to thrive by continuing to form some identity outside of the American identity. If you came from some other continent or other country and you're bringing that identity here, your generations, grandparents, I understand that. But me personally, my generation started here. My identity is American.
Okay,
Agreed. Oh, I'm sorry, Kat. Agreed. I'm not even going to say disagreement. It's not even disagreement. The only thing I might add to that is that those cultures and other ethnic groups that come here, what do? They partake of learn the American way to economically advance themselves. This is the part, regardless of if you're Black, white, whatever, if you're an American, this is what many Black Americans, and this is what some of the research, the scholars, if you will, thinkers in alchemy have said. This has been said for a long time. This is nothing new. I'm talking about Black people in general, I know that's general, we don't partake of the same American opportunities using the American capitalist value system that many of these other ethnic groups come here and do well with.
And there lies the problem.
And I think that is a problem, because if you want to talk about, and I have no issue with people who say, okay, I'm Italian American, I'm Irish American, I'm Nigerian American, whatever, and looking back at the established heritage that their culture has going back however many years. I have no problem with that. But my thing is, I've never understood why Black Americans cannot look back at the rich history we have in this country. I mean, if you're here in this country and you're a Black person, 9 times out of 10, you are descended from people who survived the Middle Passage, slavery, Jim Crow. Okay, to me, that says, and I got to give Candace Owens her props. Years ago, she was saying, what are you, a victor or a victim? And to me, the history of Blacks in America is a story of victory. All right. But we actually have liberal white record company executives and entertainment company executives try to fool us into believing our culture is hip hop. Okay. And you hear them refer, oh, this is the culture. No, it isn't. All right. The culture is perseverance, survival, and moving through to now you got a brother up in the space station orbiting the Earth every 90 minutes and a 2-term Black president. Okay. And you could say, well, Obama wasn't descended from a foundational Black American. Yeah, but his skin color. Okay. I don't give a damn where he was coming from. If it was the 1940s, he would have faced the same challenges as someone whose family had been here 200 years. Okay, so why don't we take that heritage and glom onto it? One of victory.
I agree, it's victory, but that's the issue. Because when you look at it from the lens of race, it becomes it taints it. It does not become victory. In my opinion. And that's why I say, because everything you name is not necessarily Black American history, it's American history. There were whites and all white Americans who went through that as well. So again, we got to stop. We got to start co-opting American. We're Americans. Why are we continuing to separate ourselves? The American does not look like a white person. It's all of us, the multiple shades. This is the melting pot. And so it's on us to say, no, American doesn't mean a white person. American means me. It means Josh. It means all of us. It's not a skin color. That's the identity. And this, so this is what I'm saying again. And because I talk to people from other countries and things like that, and they have an identity because the identity is different. You talk to, Caribbeans or Africans, their identity is different when they come here. But I don't have that. My identity is American.
And that's true. And there's nothing. Take Irish Americans, for example. Okay. They are totally integrated into the society. Mm-hmm. However, they will also hearken back to their heritage, and they'll mention things like the potato famine. And say, yeah, my family survived that, and that's a part. And they'll say that's one of the reasons why my family came over here. Okay. Now we have a very unique circumstance where we did not choose, by and large, our descendants did not choose to come over here, but were forcibly brought over here. But again, I think that adds into, we got over here and people say, well, some people say blacks didn't build America. Maybe not with brick and mortar, but black slaves were the underpinning of the financial system of that time. Okay. Yeah. And I can prove that. I mean, you look at New York Life, you look at Mellon Bank. This guy Mellon just gave $130 million to pay the troops. Okay. Look at their history and how they use slaves as actual collateral for loans on huge products. Slaves laid the first wall on what is now Wall Street. Okay. So we are just as integral to this beautiful country, that I'm glad to be in. And we should embrace that.
Look, y'all know I've been saying for years, and people used to get upset with me, telling me I was just want to be different, whatever. I've been saying for years, I'm a Native American. I was born here. I am Native American. That's number one. KJ, we're going to have a little disagreement, not today, about this America salad bowl or melting pot, right? Because So
I didn't understand what you guys were going back.
Yeah, that's one of the age-old arguments, like nature versus nurture. So it's like one of those kind of argument things, whatever, right? A little fun argument, if you will. But I agree with you, Tyrone. We shouldn't have a problem with Black people if you can go back and I guess trace your lineage. I don't have a problem with that either. But I do have a problem when people use that. We said poverty was an industry. So is struggle. Struggle is an industry. This is why we see a lot of the politicians jump on this, my family did this, whatever. Struggle is an industry. It buys people a place in society, if you will. It certainly buys them some political capital. And then it gives them a quote unquote an identity that they can, again, identify with the struggling classes, the classes that they need to perpetually be struggling so that they can always vote them into office. So again, it's all around disgusting in that aspect. I get it. And I'm not disagreeing with you, KJ, but I do think economically, this is what we talk about the least, because this is what really matters most. Not your skin color, in the fact that in America you can go up through the classes, if you will, upward mobility if you do certain things, and versus if you don't do certain things or don't do certain things at a certain time. So we don't talk about that a lot. We certainly don't talk about it enough, if you will, in the Black community compared to other ethnic groups who are actually doing those things.
Right. And Smiles and the Wits Twisted has a very good comment here. Not claiming American as a culture makes us weak. We need to claim American as a culture. I 100% agree with her on that. And guess what? There are all kinds of cultures. this is what I was trying to say to Dave the other day. I was saying, I'm connected with people, urbanites, because I grew up mostly in the city. That's a culture. We were all just talking about it. We all know the Baltimore City culture, living and working and things in Baltimore City. That's a culture. Southern culture is a culture. They're all different subcultures within this American culture. But again, Black is not a culture. I know people may disagree with me on that. That's not a culture. And the things that he was bringing up, it's subcultures. It's because a white person who grew up in Baltimore City in Brooklyn homes is going to have the same memories, the same, connections as a Black person who grew up in Brooklyn homes. I've actually seen that. So I think we're getting a little bit confused, but that's a whole nother day. We can go on and on in this. Folks, thank you all so much. I know we have some super chatters here. Let's see who we have here. All right. We have Razzlebull Bo 2 with a $5 super chat says DEI equals liberals demolishing the notion of Blacks believing in their God-given equality and having a zeal to strive for excellence. All right. Well done. Yes, well said. AZ2000 says, keep up the good work. Y'all are first class. Thank you. Thank you so much. We're missing Nicole tonight. Nicole, she'll be back on Wednesday. But Nicole's out tonight, so we'll see her on Wednesday. All right. I thought I had another one here. Let me see here. Maybe not. Oh, Josh with the $10 super chat says, my grandfather's best friend was a Black man, and our two families are the oldest two families in my hometown on Cape Cod here in Massachusetts. We are Americans. All right. And Josh, we're going to come visit you in Cape Cod. I've been wanting to go to Cape Cod for I don't know how long. That is a road trip. Yes. Cape Cod. Oh my. I went to Newport. I've been to Newport. I've been to New Hampshire, but not Cape Cod. So I really want to go.
Let's go.
All right, folks. Finally, the final segment of the night is Corinne Jean-Pierre. All right. So talk about, these Democrats who just lie for a living. And this is why we try to separate ourselves from Candace, because she's becoming like a Corinne Jean-Pierre. Just to take a look. This is clip 1.
Corinne, do you have any regrets at all for anything that you said while you were speaking on behalf of this administration? It's a simple yes or no.
No, because you're asking for a yes or no question. I want to put some context to it too. I woke up every day. I woke up every day very proud to be the White House press secretary. I woke up every day as a Black woman who is queer, no one had ever seen someone like me at that podium standing behind that lectern. It was an honor and a privilege to have that job. And I did it to the best of my abilities.
What the heck? You woke up a Black woman, a queer woman, whatever that means. You got two breasts, you got a vagina, you got 2 arms, you got 2 legs. Why are we talking about all this? Shelly, how did that have anything to do with the question?
Every interview, she says that. Number one, I think she's taking some pages out of Kamala's book to keep repeating the same thing, the aspirations and the joy. It's stupid. Number one. Number two, she thinks she's still the press secretary and she's still, pressing and prodding for the Democratic Party, Joe Biden, which she claims she's now an independent, but you can't find anything that she won't be criticized them for. She still doesn't even admit the damn man has dementia. She still doesn't even admit that. I mean, this is ridiculous. I don't care that you are Black or the first Black, a queer, gay woman. I don't care. Nobody cares except for that woman who you slurping on or who's slurping on you.
Right. Exactly. We don't care. We got Nicole with the $10 super chat. Says KJP finally being held accountable by the media that kissed her butt for 4 years. Imagine that. Yeah, because the guy was looking at her like, Okay. He looked annoyed. He was annoyed.
Mm-hmm.
3 equals with a $5 super sticker. Thank you so much. Tyrone, what are your thoughts?
Well, I will say this. I like what is that, a French press that she's wearing there?
Yeah, she looks very pretty. Yeah.
She looks she much better. I don't know why she didn't do that sooner than the Raggedy Ann cut that she, paraded around with.
Right.
So give her props there.
Yeah, she does look pretty. Yeah.
But look, here's y'all gotta feel sorry for the sister, man. Here's what's going on. All these press secretaries come out and they get a job at a network. Pippi Longstocking. What was the one before Corinne? Yeah.
Jen Psaki.
Okay. She got her own show, and now it's like kind of like musical chairs in that industry now with all the implosion of legacy media. So poor little Corinne Jean-Pierre is out there, and she's got to throw it all out. Listen, I'm gay, I'm black. I'm surprised she didn't mention she's an immigrant too.
Right.
You gotta, Corinne, you gotta throw it all out there, okay? But she's got the book. I think I saw it over at the Giant Food Market in the bargain bin earlier today. And I don't know, Corinne. I don't know what to say. I mean,
right. Oh man, yeah.
She's unemployed. She's an unemployed sister.
Yeah. It's sad. It really is sad, and because it degrades her as a person. It really does. For her to have to go through this long, announcement, we can clearly see what you are. Okay, why you have to say that? It just it lessens her. It lessens. Even I can say, even though I don't agree with her policies, I don't agree with how she was, represented herself at the podium, but it lessens her. It cheapens her even more that she has to say that. It really does.
Well, KJ, look, if you were out of a job, you might say, hey, black, help a sister out. Okay.
Well, now that what's her name? Ketanji Jackson Brown, whatever.
Right.
Now that she says that being black is a disability.
Oh,
now the black people, you have to add all these other things. So you can't just be LGBT. Now you got to add the black, because every year or so, you don't know with the Democratic Party, the left, you don't know which one is going to have the priority. If it's you being gay or lesbian or black. So now they got to, you got all these disabilities in it now. They got to choose the one that they think that they're going to get the most grift from, or now add them all together and you get, I guess you double your impact.
It's like when
the poor thing, she can't even get by by just saying she's gay or lesbian. She's got to say, I'm queer. They make it even more, queer.
Look, it's like when I first started out in life, when I was broke, but I still had credit cards. Okay. All of them were like maxed out. So when I would go take my girl to dinner, I would play the MasterCard, and the MasterCard wouldn't work. Okay. I got to play the Discover card. Okay. See how that, so she's got to play the lesbian card sometime, maybe play the black card, the Haitian card. Okay. You got to throw your cards out there.
Yeah. I mean, to me though, I put on glasses. So I would have, I'm black. I'm a woman. I wear glasses. You gotta help me out, right?
Wait a minute. Yes.
Give me something.
Right.
Oh my God.
Tyrone, wait a minute. Did you have the Luskins credit card too?
I wanted one, but I don't even think Luskins, when I got out of college, I think I had a 330 credit score. And I think Luskins turned me down. I was the only man in Baltimore that couldn't get anything from Luskins. They told me if you walk past Luskins, we might whip your ass. Okay. That's how broke I was.
Wow.
And for those of you who are not from Baltimore, anyone could get anything from Luskin's.
Right.
Right. All right, folks. Well, that does it for us tonight. We will be back on Wednesday night at 8 p.m. We're on 8 p.m. every Wednesday night. So check us out. If you haven't done so already, subscribe and hit that notification bell so you know when we go live. Again, tomorrow is the All American Talk Show. Again, that's tomorrow at 7 p.m. on at All American Talk right there. So you don't want to miss that show. They're going to have a panel of Latinos, and they are talking about giving their reaction or response to the President Trump's term so far. So definitely check them out, and we will be back on Wednesday. All right. Final thoughts before we go, Tyrone?
Oh, I just always enjoy being here with you all. I really appreciate it.
All right. Shelly E., close us out.
Thank you. I'm going to say, I haven't said this in a while. Stand up, show up, strap up, speak up. And I am a Native American.
All right, folks. Good night.